Welcome to our channel. Today, we discuss something that sounds like science fiction, but recent research suggests it might be closer to reality than you think: a drug that could actually help you regrow teeth. Yes, you heard that right. Teeth, the very ones most of us are told are permanent after childhood, might not be as permanent as we've been led to believe. For decades, dental care has revolved around repair rather than regeneration: fillings, root canals, crowns, implants, and dentures. We've accepted that losing a tooth is almost inevitable as we age, and that once it's gone for good. But now, a series of studies and emerging pharmaceutical research suggests that our bodies might have the inherent ability to regrow teeth under the right conditions, and that the right drug could unlock this potential. Big Pharma isn't thrilled about it, and we'll explain why. Let's start by understanding why this is such a revolutionary concept. Teeth are incredibly complex structures. They're made up of enamel, dentin, pulp, and cementum, each with its own unique composition and function. Enamel, for example, is the hardest substance in the human body, and once it's damaged, our bodies can't naturally repair it. The pulp contains nerves and blood vessels, making it critical for tooth vitality. Traditional dental treatments focus on managing damage and preventing further decay rather than restoring the tooth to its original form. But if a drug could stimulate the natural growth processes that create these tissues, we could essentially regenerate teeth the way some animals do. Speaking of animals, scientists first got this idea by studying species like sharks, alligators, and certain rodents, which have the ability to continuously replace teeth throughout their lives. In these animals, a special population of stem cells is maintained in the jaw, ready to form a new tooth whenever one is lost or damaged. Researchers wondered, what if humans have a similar, dormant capacity for tooth regeneration? The answer, according to early experiments, is yes, though it requires precise activation. One of the drugs leading this research is a molecule that targets a protein pathway called WNT signaling. The WNT pathway plays a major role in embryonic development and tissue regeneration, and recent studies suggest it could be key in stimulating dormant dental stem cells. By administering this drug in controlled laboratory conditions, scientists have been able to stimulate the growth of new teeth in mice, and even in early human dental tissue models. The teeth that formed were complete with enamel and dentin, showing structures remarkably similar to natural human teeth. Now, this isn't something that will be available at your local pharmacy tomorrow. There are numerous hurdles. First, safety is a primary concern. WNT signaling doesn't just affect teeth, it's involved in cell growth throughout the body. Uncontrolled activation could potentially lead to cancerous growths. So researchers are working meticulously to target the drug only to dental tissue. Second, the process of tooth regeneration is slow. A new tooth doesn't just pop out overnight, it requires weeks, sometimes months, to form properly. And finally, there's the issue of regulatory approval. Pharmaceutical companies are often reluctant to invest heavily in treatments that disrupt established industries. If a simple drug can eliminate the need for dental implants, root canals, and expensive restorative procedures, it could threaten billions of dollars in dental revenue worldwide. But that hasn't stopped researchers from pushing forward. In one fascinating study, scientists took dental stem cells from adult human molars and cultured them in a lab. When exposed to the drug that stimulates WNT signaling, these cells began to form tooth-like structures. The enamel-producing cells, known as amyloblasts, were activated in a way that hadn't been seen in adult human tissue before. The result was a fully formed tooth, complete with a crown that could theoretically be implanted or allowed to grow naturally in the jaw. The implications of this research are staggering. Imagine a world where cavities are no longer permanent damage but minor inconveniences. Where teeth lost in accidents, sports injuries, or age-related decay could be regrown naturally, eliminating the need for dentures or bridges. Dental health would no longer be just about maintenance, it could become about regeneration. This could also reduce the prevalence of tooth loss in older adults, which has been linked to other health issues like heart disease, diabetes, and even cognitive decline. Now, you might be wondering, if this is possible, why hasn't it been widely publicized or commercialized? Part of it is the timeline of research. Human trials are still in the early stages, and medical ethics and safety regulations naturally slow down the process. But there's also the financial incentive to consider. Big Pharma, which profits enormously from the dental industry, has little motivation to promote a treatment that could render many dental procedures obsolete. A drug that regrows teeth could drastically reduce the need for ongoing treatments, which represents a major shift in healthcare economics. However, not all news is discouraging. Several startups and academic institutions are actively pursuing ways to make this a reality. Some companies are exploring topical applications, gels or sprays that could be applied directly to the gums to stimulate tooth regeneration. Others are experimenting with injectable solutions that target specific stem cells in the jaw. And then there's the concept of bioengineering entire teeth in the lab using a patient's own stem cells, then implanting them surgically. Each approach has its own set of challenges and benefits, but all point toward a future where tooth loss doesn't have to be permanent. Let's break down how this might work in practice. First, a dentist or researcher would identify the target site in the jaw, often where a tooth has been lost or damaged. Then, a carefully measured dose of the regenerative drug would be applied to the tissue. The drug would activate dormant stem cells, encouraging them to differentiate into the various cell types needed to form enamel, dentin, and pulp. Over time, a tooth would begin to form in situ, integrating naturally with the surrounding bone and gum tissue. Unlike implants, which are mechanical replacements, this method would produce a living tooth, capable of responding to environmental changes, healing minor damage, and even remodeling itself in response to stress. Of course, this raises additional questions. How strong would these new teeth be? Could they last a lifetime like natural teeth? Would the drug work differently depending on age, genetics, or overall health? Researchers are still exploring these variables. Early studies suggest that younger patients may respond more robustly due to the higher regenerative potential of their stem cells, but adult tissue still shows promising results. And because the teeth are biologically generated rather than artificially implanted, they may be more resilient over time, potentially surpassing the longevity of traditional dental restorations. It's worth noting that this is not purely speculative. There are documented cases of humans regrowing teeth naturally, though extremely rare. Some adults have grown third molars, wisdom teeth, later in life, and there are anecdotal reports of small-scale dental regeneration in isolated cases. These instances hint that the human body retains a latent ability to create teeth, and that the right trigger, like a drug targeting specific cellular pathways, could unlock this process reliably. So, what's next for this research? Clinical trials are the key step. Scientists are carefully designing studies to test safety and efficacy in humans. They're monitoring potential side effects, optimal dosages, and the speed and quality of tooth growth. In parallel, companies are exploring delivery methods that make the treatment practical and scalable. Will it be a single-dose procedure or require multiple treatments? Will it be something performed exclusively in a clinical setting, or could future versions be administered at home under professional guidance? These are all questions that researchers are actively investigating. In addition to direct dental applications, this line of research has broader implications for regenerative medicine. If we can successfully trigger dormant stem cells to rebuild complex structures like teeth, similar techniques could be applied to other tissues and organs. Bone regeneration, cartilage repair, and even organ restoration could become more feasible as our understanding of cellular regeneration improves. Teeth may just be the beginning, a gateway into a new era of medical treatment that emphasizes the body's natural ability to heal and restore itself. Some experts caution, however, that hype should be tempered with patience. Regeneration is a slow and meticulous process. It's easy to get excited by headlines about miracle drugs, but translating laboratory success into safe, reliable human treatments takes time. Ethical and safety considerations must come first. Nevertheless, the progress made so far is undeniably exciting. Every new study brings us closer to a world where losing a tooth isn't permanent, and the dream of growing teeth on demand is becoming more tangible. As fascinating as this is, it's natural to be skeptical. Big Pharma has a history of controlling narratives around disruptive technologies, and regenerative medicine is no exception. But the spread of information via independent researchers, academic publications, and patient advocacy groups is helping to bring this research into public view. Awareness is growing, and with it, pressure for transparency and ethical application of these groundbreaking discoveries. So, what does this mean for you, the viewer? Even if the drug isn't available yet, it's important to understand the science behind it. Awareness of regenerative research empowers you to make informed decisions about dental care, stay ahead of emerging treatments, and engage in discussions about the future of healthcare. Maintaining good oral hygiene remains critical, but imagine a future where your body can heal itself, where tooth decay and loss are no longer permanent setbacks, and where expensive restorative procedures may become a thing of the past. It's also worth thinking about the philosophical implications. Teeth have been considered permanent since childhood, a part of our identity, our appearance, and our ability to eat and speak. If regeneration becomes a reality, it challenges long-held assumptions about the limits of the human body. The concept of permanence in biology could be redefined, and with that, our approach to aging, healthcare, and quality of life may shift dramatically. We're not there yet, but every step forward brings us closer. Researchers are tirelessly experimenting, refining, and testing. From WNT-targeting drugs to lab-grown teeth, the combination of biology and technology is opening doors once thought impossible. And while the timeline may be measured in years rather than months, the potential is enormous. This is a story that continues to unfold. And staying informed could put you at the forefront of one of the most revolutionary shifts in medicine in decades. Before we wrap up, let's touch on the practical side again. Once these drugs or regenerative therapies are available, they may not only help adults with tooth loss but could also revolutionize pediatric dentistry. Children born with congenital tooth defects or those who lose teeth due to trauma could benefit immensely. In some cases, preventive applications might even encourage better long-term dental health, reducing the need for orthodontics or extensive restorative procedures. It's a ripple effect that could change the very landscape of oral healthcare. To summarize, the drug that lets you regrow teeth is not just a gimmick or a fantasy, it's grounded in real science, from the activation of stem cells to WNT signaling pathways. From animal models to early human tissue experiments. Big Pharma's reluctance to embrace it highlights both the disruptive potential and the challenge of integrating such a treatment into the current healthcare model. The journey is ongoing, filled with scientific hurdles, ethical questions, and cautious optimism. But the takeaway is clear: the possibility of regrowing teeth is no longer science fiction, it's a tangible goal that researchers are actively pursuing. If this excites you as much as it excites us, don't forget to engage with this video. Hit the like button if you found this information fascinating, subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the latest breakthroughs in regenerative medicine and healthcare. And leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Would you consider using a tooth regrowing drug if it were available? Or do you think traditional dentistry will remain the safer choice? Your opinions help shape the conversation and keep this incredible topic alive. We can't wait to bring you more updates as this research progresses, and we're committed to keeping you informed about the latest discoveries that could one day change how we think about our bodies, our health, and the very idea of permanence in biology. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Your participation makes this channel thrive.